So my name is Adrian, so I'll be your guide for today, alright? So this is the Changi Precinct tour, alright? So I'll be calling out the names, those people who are in Terminal 3, so if you're here, just acknowledge, so I know that you're present here. Singapore, first time. Sure, wow, quite a lot. Okay, so just for your information, I need to keep you updated on certain things. Now, those who are smokers, alright, please take note, don't just light up anywhere in a public area. In Singapore, we have proper place for you to smoke. So if you light up anywhere, and if you are caught smoking in unauthorized area, you can be fined at least $300 to as high as even $1,000, depending on the location. Alright, so smokers, please take note. Another very important thing for smoker to note is that if you happen to be using this thing called vaporizer or the electronic cigarettes or vapes, this is a banned item in Singapore. So please don't use it here. If you have, keep it inside here. Don't bring it out, because if you are coming in, if they check that you are in possession of this, the fine is $600, and of course the item will be confiscated. Alright, so please don't use the vapes here. Now, another very important for the rest of you, now some of you may have a later flight this evening, and you, after the tour, you may decide to go and venture on your own. If you're happening to be using our public transport, be it the bus, the public bus, or the metro, do take note, 3 things you can't do. Smoke, eat and drink inside these premises, alright, or attract fines of at least $300 to $500. So please abstain from drinking, smoking, or eating anything, even a snack, inside the metro.
Water?
Not even water, inside when you're using public transport. Okay? Now, however, for our tour, we allow you to bring a bottle of mineral water with you must come with a bottle and a cap. We allow you to drink to keep yourself hydrated. Only for our tour. So when you go outside, please don't use it. Don't quote me. Well, it doesn't apply outside. Okay? Alright, and of course, in our coach, we don't allow you to have eating or, of course, smoking also. And of course, only bottles, mineral water, no soft drink, no coffee, no tea. Okay, we don't want to have any spillage. Alright. Now, this is also a time scheduled tour. That means I have to make sure all of you are back in the airport by 12:30. Alright, we'll come back to the airport by 12:30. So that being the case, please be punctual at the pickup point. If you are late, the bus will leave without you. Alright? You have to find your own way back to the airport at your own cost, your own arrangement. Because there are people who are catching the flight. We cannot afford to wait for you and compromise them. Alright? Having to rush or for the plane. So do take note, on our bus there will be cameras, so you will capture who is there on the bus exactly at the same time. So there's no dispute if you are not there. Alright, this is to make sure all are in order. Okay, so time now, please synchronize your time to our time. It's 0911. 0911. Okay, so let's use this time for all the pickup. Okay. Now, another very important point is that now the bus is not assigned to us throughout. Sometimes it can change. It may be asked to go and pick up another group. So that being the case, please do not leave any of your items inside the bus when we are exploring the tour. Everything must be brought down. Okay? If you leave anything behind, the bus is activated, he will not wait for you to come back to retrieve. They will go. And if the next group comes, if the items are there, things may be missing, and we are not accountable for any loss. Alright, neither will the bus come back to deliver the thing to you, because he has other assignment. Okay, so always bring your items with you at all times. Okay. Now, one last thing is that after this, I will be bringing all of you to the immigration. In Singapore, here you do your own checkout. Alright. So later, have 3 of these documents ready on hand with you: your passport, your boarding ticket for your next flight, as well as visa if you need. Those who are ASEAN countries or those who are exempted from the visa, you don't need the visa. Okay? Now, all of you have been told to submit your SG arrival card. I hope all of you have done that. Without that, the immigration will not allow you to go out. must finish your SG arrival card. Later, when you are at the counter, the immigration counter, take out your passport with your photo picture and all your passport barcode, face it down, slide and scan it into the machine. It will compare what you have submitted earlier in your SG arrival card. The information you submit must match, alright? It must match that of what your passport is. So, if it matches, the first gate will open. And then you can walk in, there will be a footprint on the floor. Stand over the footprint, look to your right, there will be a camera that will scan your face feature. Look at the camera for a while. Those who are wearing glasses, please remove them because of reflection. After they have scanned your face, they will ask you to put your thumb, your right hand thumb, onto the scanner. Follow according to the instruction and then remove accordingly. After which, the second gate will open. And you are good to clear out of immigration. Alright, any question up to now?
Yes, I have a question. Do I need to check immigration when you come back, or can I do it later?
Okay, I'll come to that. Okay, very good question. So now, for those people who have submitted earlier, if everything is correct, this gate will open. Now, what about some of you who have submitted earlier, but sometimes the gate will not open? Because why? You will put down there, no SGAC, no SGAC found. That means no Singapore arrival card found, even though you may have submitted earlier. Now, why is that so? Is because probably what you have submitted earlier, the information did not match your passport. So it could be a mistake when you are submitting it, either your passport number, which is quite a common mistake. Sometimes you miss an alphabet or you miss a number. Sometimes also your birth date, especially for those who are filling on behalf of your children. Sometimes tendency you forget about that birth date. You psychologically you key in your own birth date. Right? And third, another common mistake is if you have very long names, please don't use abbreviation. It must be according to what is shown on your passport. So if your name is a very long name, you have to spell out everything. Right? No shortcut. Right? Or don't use your nickname or whatever alliance name. Right? It must be the same. Now, check through what you have submitted earlier, resubmit or update the thing, resubmit again, a new one, and then try to go in again. You should be able to clear. Okay? This is for those who show that no SGAC found. Right? Okay. Now after you clear immigration, next thing I want you to do, look to your right after you come out from the second barrier. Look out for a signboard like this hanging up on the ceiling. It's green in color, written on it custom, and below it nothing to declare. Head straight towards this signage, which is about 30 or 40 meters away after you exit out. Head towards there, go out of the glass panel door, exit out of the place, turn right. Head straight for about 30 or 40 meters, that's where McDonald's is. You all can go to McDonald's, have your coffee, have your tea, have your breakfast, alright? I'll go there and pick you up exactly at 9:45. 9:45, outside McDonald's, just near, around McDonald's. Yes. Okay, so please finish all your drinks, everything. Now at McDonald's there's a restroom, there's also a place for you to top up your water, just beside the
We have a leader.
sorry? Leader?
Leader.
Yes, later I'll go and meet you there. You all go and have your breakfast first, okay? Now, just in case, because you all come in early. Now, some of you, the place we are visiting is Tampines Hub. This is where you get to see how Singaporeans stay together. Singaporeans are very well known for living together, the multinational, multi-languages. So here we are going to visit the heartland and see how the government have built houses, different kind of public housing for them, how they actually stay together, how we actually foster our harmony together. Alright, you get a chance to see something very unusual, as it's one of the very few exception tours conducted here in Singapore, for you to get know about the Singapore people. Alright, Second, down there we'll be visiting some of the facilities to show you how these facilities help to enrich our living conditions. Then later, second place I'm bringing you to Changi, which is there near to the beach, where you get to explore one of the beaches in Singapore. Now, those who want to buy food outside, all right, you need to have cash, Singapore currency, all right? Or if you have small change of US currency, I can change for you, but not too much, okay? All right? Okay, if you are all ready to go, get your documents ready, all right? We'll be heading to immigration now. Now, all of you will go through the visitors lane. There are 3 lanes. One is the visitor, one is a Singapore citizen, and one is the special assistant lane. Use the one in the visitor lane. Anyone bringing children less than 6 years old? No, what? Okay. So if you're ready, get your documents ready. So these few days we are having quite a good weather. It's a bit chill, cooling. All right. So usually it's quite hot and humid. All right. So but for today, last few days, it's been like this our temperature. So moderate, I would say moderate. Happy Chinese New Year. Okay, 恭喜发财, alright, for all the Chinese and also for the rest of you too. Okay, so I'll be giving you a quick overview of Changi Airport so that later when you're back, you are able to move around much more comfortably, alright, for those who are here first time. Now, where we have just boarded the bus is at Terminal 3. Now, Changi Airport has 4 terminals. Now, Terminal 1, 2 and 3 are at different buildings, but they are located in the same area. So you can get from Terminal 1, 2 or 3 using the SkyTrain. Now there are 2 sets of SkyTrain. One is inside the transit area. The other one is outside. Alright, outside the immigration area. Now this SkyTrain operates until 1:30 a.m. alright, in the morning, and then it closes for a couple of hours for maintenance, and then 5 o'clock it resumes its operation. Now to go to Terminal 4, which is located away from the 3 terminals, is by means of shuttle bus services. At intervals of 10 minutes, they provide this service, either coming from Terminal 1, 2 or 3. So going to Terminal 4 only takes less than 10 minutes, right? So you can pick, there will be stations for you to be picked up, either from Terminal 1, 2 or 3 to go to Terminal 4. Now, currently the 4 terminals is able to serve up to 80 million arrivals every year with the 2 runways. So right now we are building our 3rd runway with also alongside with Terminal 5, which should be ready in 5 years time from now by the year 2030. So when Terminal 5 is ready, it will be as large as Terminal 1, 2, 3, 4 combined together, making it one of the largest terminal probably in the world. So by itself, it will be able to give us up to 50 million more arrivals coming to Singapore. So we are also looking for the newer facilities, alright, for the newer aircraft. Now, probably many of you have heard of Changi Airport having a very special icon building known as the Jewel. Some of you asked me about Jewel. Whether can you visit Jewel after the end of the trip? Yes, you can do so. In fact, the bus will drop you off outside Jewel and Terminal 1 and 2 and 3. Now over here on your left, you can see this is Jewel. Alright, this is the Jewel that is located outside Terminal 2, Terminal 3 and Terminal 1, just outside the airport area. So all of you are on 1 entry, 1 exit permit. So later when you're back, those who want to go to the Jewel, if time is on your side, you can visit Jewel before you go back to the immigration. Okay? So now Terminal 4 is located alongside Terminal 2, further up, right? And you can get to Terminal 4 by means of the shuttle bus services, which I mentioned earlier. At intervals of about 10 minutes, they have these shuttle runs. Alright. Now, if you look around you, Singapore itself, everywhere you look, is a green City. We are always called a Prince City, or now we call ourselves Garden or City in the Garden, because everywhere you look is garden. And why are we sometimes called a city, even though we are already a sovereign state since 1965? Now, in 1965, Singapore got its independence after the British colonial rule, after following the World War II. Now, back then, Singapore became a British colonial in 1824. In 1824, after the King of Singapore decided to sell the rights to the British. And the British, since 1824, have owned it until the World War II. So prior to that, Singapore itself was one of the region here under the rule of the Srivijaya Empire, the Majapahit Kingdom, and during the early years of the Siam invasion as well as the Chola invasion, which actually occupied a lot of Southeast Asia regions back then. So Singapore itself got its name from one of the princes coming from Srivijaya Empire back then in the 1299 years. Alright, at that time he went hunting with this group of men, and then he found that while he's hunting he saw a creature challenging the whole hunting team. And he was amazed at the courage of this animal and this beast, and he asked the man, what is the name of this animal? So the man told him it's a lion. Now in Sanskrit, Singapura is what he called the new land. Singa is lion and Pura is city or a town. So that's how Singapore got its name from this prince. And the name of the prince is the Sang Nila Utama. Alright. So that's how Singapore got its name changed from the Marseille to Singapura. And then until the British come, they had problem pronouncing it as Singapura. So they say quite Singapore. Alright. So now a little bit of background. Now Singapore itself in the 14th century was already a trading hub between the East and the West. A lot of merchandise coming from India, from Indonesia, from China were found here in Singapore soil. The artifact, the coins and everything when we excavate the ground. So all these traces trace back all the way to the 14th century. That's how itself we were able to establish that before even the British arrival, Singapore was already a trading hub area. What happened to Singapore in the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th century are missing years that were not documented. But we believe during the conflict years in Southeast Asia, when the Srivijaya Empire was overtaken by the Majapahit and then followed by the Chola and followed by the Dutch, followed by the British, followed by the Japanese, everything changes the landscape. Right. So there are many things happening in Singapore. Singapore got its name changed from Singapura to Sunanto during the Japanese occupation. Sunanto was a word they used to call us the light of the South. And after World War II, it was resumed back to Singapore. Okay, so now we are going to visit one of the heartland of Singapore. Now, why did the Chinese, why did the Malays and Indians, how did they come to Singapore in the early years? They started coming to Singapore back in the early 19th century, because at that time, if you realize history, China was going through Opium War 1 and 2 back then in 1840s, 1850s and 60s. So many of the Chinese from different provinces decided to run out of the country to look for work, and they came to Southeast Asia to look for work. Some landed in Penang, Malacca and finally in Singapore. So over here you can see these are the fish we call the solar panel farm. Currently we are using a lot of solar panel farm to provide us and help us cut down the use of electricity, because we believe in using nature, the cycle. Alright, so this is able to provide us 30% of the so-called energy, and some of these areas are also substations and what to provide to the whole entire town. Now these are the dormitory that you will see, alright, that is provided to our so-called foreigners who are working here, some of them, alright. And I would like now to show you where we are heading now. Now you notice Singapore itself comprised of 6 million people right now. And here we have divided into Singapore into different zones. The eastern zone, the northeast zone, the north zone, the west zone and the central zone. So you find that where we are now, we are at the yellow zone, which is the eastern zone, near to Changi Airport. And over here, this is the Tampines town, one of the biggest town in Singapore. It is also called a satellite town. a satellite differs from the normal town in the sense that it has almost everything you would find in the central part of Singapore, from hospitals, schools, all the facilities and all the working area. So the whole idea about this satellite town is that where you stay is where you should find your work. Where your children are, they should also go to the schools there. This will help us to cut down on the what we call commuting from point to point, wasting a lot of time as well as unnecessary so-called energy. Alright, in the sense like we want to make sure Singapore is a car light and less polluted country. So by cutting down unnecessary your distance, it helps us to save a lot of such type of effects in view of the current global warming. Alright, that's causing a lot of weather phenomenon changes within Southeast Asia and the world. Now over here you'll find that all these are public housing. Now Singapore, we classify our people into three categories. One is the lower income group, the middle income group and the high income group. The lower income group are those people who earn 3,000 and below a month. Middle income are between $3,000 to $8,000 a month. And of course, for those who are high income group is 10,000 and above. The high income group are not allowed to apply for public housing like this. These are only meant for the lower income and the middle income group. Right, the government provide subsidies as well as a lot of discount on all these flats for us to be able to afford it. Now, these houses from 3 rooms, 4 rooms, 5 room executive apartment cost between 200 over thousand to 500 over $1,000. It sits on a 99 years lease from the time you purchase it, and after 99 years it will go back to the state land. So here itself, you'll find that lots of these also have a lot of private properties which are all for the higher income group. Now, to afford a house here in Singapore, the government helped the young couple to be able to provide assistance in terms of mortgage, in terms of loans and stuff like that, depending on earned income. Now over here you see, this is the whole entire substation plant, which is to support the whole Tampines area beside the solar farm. So we have a proportion of 30% using solar panels and another 70% using such type of substations, right? Electricity. So over here you find lots of factory space. You can see factory space, offices. These are also located near to the residence area. You can see a lot of the factory areas around here. So the eastern part of Singapore, because it's close to the airport, you have a lot of aviation, alright, logistics, alright, work related to the airport, running of that management of the airport, and many other types of job opportunities, and banks, as well as a lot of other facilities. So like I said, being a satellite town, it has shopping center, it has hospital, it has almost everything what you will find in a major city. So Singapore has 4 satellite towns. One in the east, one in the north, one in the west, and one in the central area. This is to make sure that we don't have to run from point to point. Alright. So over here you find that some of the things that you see here, which we are going to explore this area, is that this is one of the clubhouse that is meant for those people who have completed the national service, which is compulsory for all men above age 18. Alright, and these facilities are also extended to the family members to use, like the swimming pool, the football pitches, the bowling alley, as well as the jackpot machine, restaurants, and all other kind. Alright, even mahjong tables and things are all inside here. Alright. Now, if you now look towards there, you can see a lot of new developments. These are all public housing. It is catered towards the people who are going to get married. Alright, so you can apply through the housing department, alright, board of department, alright, HDB in short we call. So the couples, when they are about to settle, they will normally apply for a house. This is called a build to order flats. So all this currently is empty. So one is completed usually from the point you make an order. It takes about 3 years waiting time, and then once it's completed, they will hand over the keys to you with the condition you show your register of marriage cert. Okay. Now, what about the singles? Singles, we don't encourage them to stay unmarried. So, however, some of them may decide to carry on life like that.
So they are only allowed to apply direct from the government once they pass 35 years old. Right. But before that, we still want them to get married. Because we are running short of people here in Singapore. Currently in Singapore, we are facing one of the major challenges, like most countries, is we are facing an aging population. And our young children, even my sons, are not producing enough to replace me and my wife. Right, some of them decide to have one child only. So that's where our crunch is. So you realize Singapore itself, we don't have much resources. We don't have land to grow crops. We don't have land to even have farms, alright, cattle farms or anything like that. We don't have gold. We don't have anything under our ground. What we have, our only asset is the human. Alright, and that is very important to us. So how does Singapore prosper with in a land that's without resources? It's because we have to make sure we are now using our so-called strategic locations central to the world to be able to provide services like financial, wealth management, and of course communication hub and all the trading functions. So many foreigners set up their headquarters here because of what? The central location. So from here, we also have a lot of foreigners coming to work here. Out of the 6 million people who are staying here, about 1.85 million are foreigners working here. So remaining 4 million are comprising of the Chinese, which form 75% of the population, the Malays, which form about 15%, the Indians about 7 to 8%, and the remaining others, 1 or 2% foreign. These are the Europeans, the Eurasians, and so forth. They are the minority, right, forming the remaining. Now this is where Tampines is. You can see here itself is well served by a lot of metro station. This is one of the metro station inside the whole area, and this is the public housing below. You can see there are clinics, there are medical, dental, there are also food courts for you to enjoy different kind of food. Here they serve halal and non-halal, Indian food, Chinese food, almost every kind of food. Alright, so housewife who is staying here who doesn't want to cook, they can come down, buy takeaways and go out. So if they have medical issues, they can actually fix appointment for dental or medical screening below. Now over here you see this is a police station. It's a neighborhood police. Every city itself like this or town will have a police neighborhood station to take care of the security and all kind of issues on the ground for safety as well as for the management of crime and stuff like that. Now you'll find that here, Singapore generally will cycle from blocks to blocks or to market, from the residence to market or to the school. So there are a lot of pavement for cycling track, for pedestrian walking, so that they don't collide into one another. And if you are observant enough, you find that everywhere there are CCTVs. With the CCTVs, it provides us a link to all the police stations so that they can monitor and track any crime activity that takes place anywhere inside the town. So making us Singapore a very low crime area. Because if you want to rob anybody, you are captured on TV. Within 24 or 48 hours, you'll be apprehended. Because almost everywhere you have cameras. So here itself, you can see these are the earlier development, the 4-story. You see on the roof there are a lot of solar panel. Now we have replaced a lot of the solar panel to provide common walkways, lighting in general areas. So here we have also very well established covered link all the way from the schools. This is the schools. This is the elementary school, alright? And over here, this is also ideally for the home for the aged. Those people who are having dementia, who are having a lot of issue, need assistance in their old age, they also have this park here so that families can send their seniors here, and then after work they can pick them up or visit them here, all within the same complex. Now Singapore, many of us are also having a lot of, especially aging, a lot of diabetic problem, a lot of high blood pressure problem, alright, because of the food that we have. Too much so-called food and items like that. So here itself, this is located to the needs of the people. Now over here, another school. This is one of the Catholic schools. So although it's a Catholic school, it allows all kind of religion to come and enroll their children here. And over here, you can see common a lot of things. These are the 3 rooms and the 4 rooms flat. Alright. Now you notice that on the ground floor is void deck, and these void decks are used as common areas for bicycles, storage, also for people to interact. Alright, neighbors to come down and interact. And also at times it is used as an area for people to conduct, especially the Malays, weddings. They will stage up and dress up the whole entire area, and they invite the neighbors downstairs to have and enjoy. Now for the Chinese, they will use this place as a place for a funeral. Wait, sometimes, because that's where also the residents can pay their last visit to him, alright, or her, and this is very so-called common here. Now this is one of the community center. You can see community club. So every zone had their own community center, and you can see lots of food down there. Alright, a lot of people in the morning they will come here together, and this place of worship is a church. So you have place of worship here also within the area, from churches to mosques and also to temples and to Hindu temples. Here's another school you can see. So there are lots of schools that is nearby so that your kids can come, and lots of playground you can see for senior to morning to go and do their exercises. We want them to remain fit and healthy, alright? And you can see here, there are also a lot of provision shops, saloon shops that you can also come, and different choices of food you can pick from. Okay, we'll be dropping off here, so bring down everything, alright? Alright, because here, you see, here in Singapore, we want people to walk either to, okay, our concept is ride, cycle and walk. Ride in case if the distance is too far, you can take the public buses or you can take the metro. Cycle, because you'll find later, a lot of people are using cycle to cycle from the residence to the metro. There are also inside buses running here. Right, so here inside lane, normally we don't have too many buses because of the noise, resident area. So only on the main street, then you have a lot of public buses, all within walking distance.
And the frequency of
Are meant for anyone staying around Tampines area and also those who are away from here. So you notice many of the houses now have been upgraded. On the roof you can see a lot of solar panels now. In the past this wasn't there, because at that time technology wasn't here then. So today many of the common lightings like corridor lights and those essential lightings are now powered by all these solar panels there. Alright, so Singapore is changing its landscape from using sustainable concept so that we don't have to waste a lot of energy. So over here this hub itself, you can see it's one of the major facilities where you can find almost anything here. Okay, here you find that this is community dining or lunch. Now over here, all these tables and chairs are provided for our locals and also foreigners. So the whole concept is that all tables are to be shared. You should not have your own exclusive seat. So if you're only two person here, another one can join you. Now this is a concept where we want to develop people to believe that common space, our high common space must be shared. No such thing as yours. So here itself, you also make sure that we are living in harmoniously, alright, and to have a good kind of a culture, consideration for others. After you finish eating, all your items tray must be returned back to the tray collection point. So if you are a non-Muslim, you have to put on a non-Muslim. If you are a halal, you have to put on a halal out of respect for each other religion. Alright, and here you find that all the shops have to label their price tag of the dish. So this is become very transparent for foreigners or for local, and the serving are accordingly. Alright, and down here you'll find that this area also designed concept for all kind of age group and different kind of users, like patronize people who are wheelchair. You find it is purposely intended not a setup and quite difficult. umbrella, your bag, everything. So you just this is the picture that was taken after the Japanese World War ended, the release of all the Allied prisoners of war. Can you see? From the main gate just now you saw them. Right. And this was how the interns used to be. Can you imagine? During the Japanese occupation. So we have a lot of Allied forces, foreign forces defending Singapore, Malaysia back then. So many of them were incarcerated in Changi prison, just now the one that you saw. And this whole area, this was the prison layout at that time. Alright, you can see. And this is the main war entrance just now you saw as we passed through. So this whole inside complex has all been torn down really, leaving only this wall, the perimeter wall. So here, some of the places here are still being used as a prison. Alright, we have 3 different prisons, one for the women, men and juveniles. And over here you can see an extension of one of the prison cells that is used for hardcore, those who are serving capital punishment, or those people who are drug traffickers waiting sentence for execution. So this is the wall. Can you see? This is one of the prison walls. It's still in operation now. And back then, in the eastern part, because Singapore need to be defended by the possible invasion coming from the sea, the British established a lot of military base here, usually from the artillery units. So many of the barracks were all under the British before the pre-war and post-war. And over here you can see landed properties like this. These are for the rich. So here, a property like that would easily cost you $6 million to $12 million. Easily, alright? Now probably depend on the size and of course so this is the presence of the military. You can see the military barracks is here. We have also now converted this area into one of the main so-called mobilization center for our military personnel. So when Singapore is under threat, we will do a mobilization in August, recalling all our reservists to equip up, alright, for open orders to go out and deploy. So this is also our prison services, where we also help our brothers who are incarcerated to learn new skills, to help them, re-educate them. Some of them maybe during the earlier youth time they get into bad companions. So over here we provide them opportunity to study, to take their O levels, A levels. Some of them eventually became lawyers. Alright, they were sponsored here, alright, based on their ability to study, and actually they graduated, and then they are now practicing lawyers, defending their people who are here. So we have a couple of people, good lawyers, alright, some of them are still doing this service for the halfway house.
在我那个孙子跟这个叫地沙来驾驭，把那个小地沙，是地沙，是地沙鱼。那么那个是哪地沙？
Yes, and then follow the Majapahit came took over them. Building just now you saw outside Terminal 1, 2 and 3. Remember I pointed out to you? So inside there, that's where you find a waterfall feature. You will see in your YouTube, right? And that's called the rain vortex. Now this building is specially built for the purpose of transiting people like yourself who have a long day over. So if you're wondering what you can do around the place for the next few hours, this place suits your requirement. So in Jewel, what can you find? Now, inside Jewel, the main attraction is this very nice waterfall feature known as the rain vortex, and surrounding this waterfall feature currently, which is the tallest or the highest so-called man-made water feature in the world, alright, inside a building itself is 40 meters high, alright, and it also has up to 8 story, alright, 8 story level. Inside there you will find there are 4 tiers of level that you can choose to stay to overwatch the waterfall feature. Now inside this whole park itself you have 2,000 over trees, about 200,000 of landscape, alright, surrounding the whole area, and cascading waterfall by the sun. So in the daytime you'll find that the whole roof is all glass panels comprising of 9,000 over pieces of glass panels, allowing natural light to flood the whole landscape. This provided photosynthesis to the trees and to the plants inside there, and all is real living trees, right? Not artificial. So at night the whole garden itself is transformed into an enchanted forest by different shades of lights and of course music. So tonight, those who are flying off, let's say midnight or much later, you'll find that there are 2 shows running there, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock show, alright. The 2 shows runs at the waterfall feature. It runs for about 10-15 minutes. It projects lasers and light and sound show, alright, and admission is free. So there are 2 shows like I said. So what about those people who, what else can you find? You'll find that inside there, just outside the perimeter or within the same building, there are about 300 over retail shops selling apparels for the ladies, shoes, clothes, fashions, everything, handbags, jewelries, everything, and also electronic good items like the Apple store is also there. And of course down there is also a place where you have a lot of eatery outlets. So those of you who are hungry now, right, you go to the 3rd level, you have all the so-called nice restaurants, and these restaurants are all awarded with the Michelin Star Award, or if not the Good Gourmet award. So here itself you'll have a lot of food like Italian food, Japanese food, Korean food, Indian food, Chinese food, Western food, steakhouses, lots and lots of dessert shops if you wish to, pastry, Paris backbed, and all the likes of it. All these are located on the 3rd level. And if those people would like to have a simple meal, you can go down to the basement 1, where you'll find a lot of local cuisine food like the Hainanese chicken and all the stuff that you want, the nasi biryani, samosa, naan, vegetarian food, vegan food, ramen, banh mi, Vietnamese food, Filipino food, pho, okay, you have lots of that, the Jollibee, alright, and also, like I said, halal food if you wish to. So on the 1st level you have all the coffee ranges from matcha coffee, Japanese coffee, to the local kaya and toast, to Starbucks, to Paul's coffee, whatever. Alright. If you want to try, have you anyone you tried the Japanese coffee? Probably never heard of it. Where does Japanese drink coffee rather than tea? But there is a Japanese coffee. You can try it at the basement 1 too, I think. So if you want to buy something from the local supermarket, you can buy also at the basement 2. Alright, we have a lot of things for your snacks, for your soft drink and everything. Alright, even for burgers and things like that. So go to basement 1, you also have outlets like McDonald's, KFC, the 4-finger chicken, whatever you call it. Alright, so a lot of variety here. Alright, and what's more is that down there you can use your card and your Visa to pay for all this. So those ladies who
want to pamper yourself, you can go to the 4th level. This is the wellness floor. Down there you can get your fingernails done up, your face mask done up, or even your manicure, your pedicure, whatever cure you want, even a spa or even a foot massage, alright? So everything is possible there. Only thing you need to do is give them the money and they give you the honey. No money, no honey. So you can go and enjoy it. For the guys, alright, if you are craving for a nice cold beer, I recommend you go to the 5th level. You have the red wine, white wine coming from different countries, different outlets, Italian, French wine, whatever, alright? And of course, all the beers, draft beer, brewed beer, whatever beer you want, alright? Plentiful and finger food, alright? So you can go there. This is located at the 5th level. Those with the children, you can bring them to the 5th level. They have this rope canopy. Let them jump until they get tired. Then on the plane, you have a very good rest. Okay, so in Jewel is a place you must go. Alright, so usually I go there because as you walk in, you just close your eyes and just listen to the rain, like the waterfall. It's very relaxing and very soothing. Alright, and if I were you, I would go downstairs to basement, buy myself a nice beer, a can of beer, or some kind of a food that you like, and just have a picnic there. You're allowed to eat around there, but of course, precaution. Please clean it and throw it in the rubbish after you finish. Alright, then you will be into trouble because inside there are also CCTVs. You are allowed to consume your food there as long as you don't litter.
Is it eating our own risk?
Now we have 2 other kind of tours. If you are coming back to Singapore through another transit, maybe another day, you can try out the city tour. Alright, the city side tour, which will bring you to the Malayan Park and the Gardens by the Bay. And then the other one is heritage tour, which will bring you to Chinatown as well as to the Malay Kampung, what they call Kampung Glam area. These 2 towns are the place, the first early immigrants when they first came here. So they were settled in these 2 zones, the Chinese and the Malays. So very, very historical type of experience. Right? Okay, so last of all, I'd like to wish all of you a very good year, and also may God bless all of you with good health and your family members all together with a safe trip home and a very good new year for all of you.
Thank you very much.
Good, thanks for
Okay,
your
you're
time.
most welcome.